minute past the hour. A daycare is still closed this morning while investigators comb through cell phone and surveillance video allegedly showing child abuse. Dionys Armas Camacho was arrested, accused of shaking a baby violently at the Eastern Child Development Center last month. A co-worker recorded the behavior and told police she was afraid no one would believe her. Workers say Armas Camacho was trusted in the 7 years she worked at the daycare. They also say she worked alone most of the time and wasn't really monitored.
This is shocking for all of us to see, because it makes you wonder. You think about your own kids, like they were in there with her forever.
We've made the decision here at News 13 to not show that disturbing cell phone video in our continuing coverage. At your discretion, you can watch the full video on our website at KRQE.com. New on this Wednesday, the state is looking for more users for a public safety network meant for first responders. We first told you about this dedicated network when law enforcement tested it out at the New Mexico State Fair. News 13's Catherine Mazzone, though, is in the Newsplex with how they're expanding that now. Catherine?
Good morning, Adam. When first responders put this network to the test, they use what's known as a COW, or cellular on wheels, as a wireless carrier. But there are 6 fixed sites on permanent towers for this public safety network, ready to provide LTE communications.
The state of New Mexico now, they're actually adding users to that public safety network today.
Richard Coleman works with the company managing the network. He says these fixed sites are mostly in remote areas: Santa Fe, Santa Teresa, and Eddy County. In Santa Teresa, Coleman says they're working with federal partners like Customs and Border Patrol. In Santa Fe and Eddy County, he says they're looking for users to enroll in the network. With more users, he says New Mexico can recoup some of the costs for that initial network deployment. Plus, New Mexico officials say the more users, the greater the return on the investment, and the more they can build out into the more rural areas. Coleman says these are just a few reasons why there's a want and a need to expand the network across the state.
The same thing that we've seen in the public commercial networks, where you have the network and then you have the applications, then you have these unique devices. That same thing will happen in the public safety community as well. And so the faster we can grow this network, the more innovation we'll see come to New Mexico public safety.
New Mexico's Department of Information Technology says they're already expanding the number of users when it comes to large-scale events. At the fair, they had 30 devices on site, with 25 in use at any given time. Well, now at Balloon Fiesta, they have 70 on site and topped out at 42 users, with more expected. But they're not using those fixed sites for Fiesta. They're just too far away. Officials instead have a COW in use. Back to you.
Okay, Catherine, thanks. The department says they'll deploy as many devices as they have at Fiesta in order to get the word out. While they had a grant to get the system off the ground, they'll have to now recoup costs through user fees. Happening this morning, APD is looking for whoever owns this stolen balloon equipment. Investigators say they recovered a trailer full of stolen goods in southeast Albuquerque late last month. Among the items inside, 2 large propane tanks and burners used for a hot air balloon. If you have any information, you're asked to call APD at 242-COPS. A balloon pilot recovering this morning from some minor injuries after being thrown from his balloon. It happened after a hard landing in Rio Rancho. He's expected to be okay. Also, a balloon hit power lines at 4th and Candelaria. Nobody was hurt there, but the power was cut off in the area. Another hot air balloon landed on the roof of the Hooters on Alameda. A viewer sent us these pictures. Crews were able to get that balloon down safely. 7 cross-country athletes with the nationally recognized Durango High School team won't be in class this morning. District officials confirmed some of the members snuck marijuana and alcohol during their trip to Arizona last weekend for a meet. A district spokeswoman says interviews with students and their parents are ongoing. More suspensions are possible. The athletes have been suspended. While recreational pot is legal in Colorado, it's only legal for those 21 and older.
At this point, it's not going to put the whole team at risk for long term. It's just during the investigation where they cease practice activities and meets until it's completed.
The district says it has reported the incident to the Colorado High School Activities Association, which could take further action against the team. New this morning, the new CEO of Volkswagen is announcing the company will begin recalling models with faulty emissions in January. Last month, the car maker revealed that around 11 million cars worldwide have software designed to cheat U.S. emission tests. 2 engineers are being investigated. The company says many of the cars will just need software updates, but warns that some may need parts replaced. The car maker hopes to have all of the cars fixed by the end of next year. Developing now, 6,000 federal prison inmates will be released in the coming weeks. These releases are thanks to recent changes in federal drug sentences. Each inmate did have to appeal for their releases. Authorities say the inmates will be released between October 30th and November 2nd. This is the largest one-time release of federal prisoners. Also new this morning, we're learning more behind the story of a boy suspended for staring at a female classmate. The 12-year-old boy's parents say this incident last year actually happened during a game known as the staring game. The girl went to authorities at her school saying that she felt threatened. The boy was suspended and told to write an apology letter. All of this 3 days before his parents knew what happened. His parents took the school to court to get the suspension erased from the record, but they lost the case this week. And now they say there's a double standard.
The same girl that accused my son of this act of perception of intimidation aggressively poured milk on someone else's lunch. She received nothing for that.
The school district says it will not comment on any more issues with specific students. New video this morning shows a city commissioner in Alabama attacking a reporter. Amos Newsom is now facing charges of third-degree assault this morning. I should say he's a commissioner. Authorities say the reporter came up to Newsom for comment after a commission meeting on Tuesday. He's been under pressure to step down amid allegations of voter fraud. Well, we're keeping our eyes on the skies this morning, waiting to see if the balloons will launch from Balloon Fiesta Park. Crystal Gutierrez is live there with a look at what the crowd can expect today. Hey, Crystal.
Good morning once again, Addie. Man, things are really ramping up at this time. Come take a look at Vendor Row with me. It's really getting jam-packed. A lot of Fiesta goers out this morning, and that's what vendors want to see, and that's what Fiesta officials want to see as well, because Fiesta officials have a special treat for Fiesta goers this morning. Take a look at this. A new laser light show is already underway at this time. I don't know if you can see off in the distance there when Pigs flies in the cold inflation process, and that's because in about 30 minutes they're going to be doing the Krispy Kreme morning glow. That's when several balloons will be already inflated and glowing here, really lightening up the morning sky here in Albuquerque. Beautiful sight. Now, following that, of course, Mass Ascension is scheduled for 7 o'clock. It's a flight of the nations. 17 countries will be represented. That's another special treat. Then a little bit later on at 9 o'clock, we have the Parabatic Sky Racers. They're expected to take place at 9. All of this, of course, is weather permitting. We're still on a yellow flag. We're waiting for them to give us the green. And when that does happen, we'll let you know right here on KRQE News 13. For now, we're going to send things back to you, Adam.
Sounds good. Thanks, Crystal. And by the way, she and Kristen Curry are live with full coverage of today's launch beginning at 7 a.m. on 2 Casa. Open the KRQE News app, too, for Balloon Fiesta news, traffic conditions, and pictures. Coming up, New Mexico, classes at Espanola Valley High School are canceled today after a threat posted on social media. Espanola's superintendent, Bobby Gutierrez, says a student who attends a neighboring school said he wanted to shoot at the school and, as she said, quote, kill a lot of kids. According to Gutierrez, the threat made was general. She says police have not found the boy who posted that message, but they believe he may have been suspended from a neighboring school. No word on when classes will resume. As you wake up today, the Albuquerque Biopark is celebrating what appears to be a victory in the city election. Preliminary results show voters approved a tax increase to help fund the zoo. With all 53 voting locations reporting, that measure will likely pass with over 56% of the vote. It would mean about $17 million more in revenue each year. Of the 4 city council races, 2 were contested. Brad Winter appears to keep his seat in District 4. Pat Davis leads in City Council District 6. Voters also appear to be in favor of having future mayoral picks for police and fire chief positions submitted to the city council for approval. To check out all of the latest election results, just open the KRQE News app. 6:33 happening today. Doctors Without Borders is expected to call for an investigation into how 22 people were killed at one of their facilities in Afghanistan. This comes a day after a top U.S. commander admitted a hospital there was mistakenly bombed on Saturday as American forces were helping Afghan soldiers fight the Taliban. Doctors, staff, and patients are among those who died. Officials from the U.S., Afghanistan, and NATO are investigating. There could be more evacuations in South Carolina this week as floodwaters continue to plague the state. Authorities say thousands of residents are without clean water and will likely have to boil their water for some time. Crews in downtown Columbia, South Carolina are currently working to fix a hole in a canal that holds the city's water supply. But the power has been restored for nearly 300,000 residents who lost electricity during those massive storms. And there's now a new guardrail at the waste transfer station in Valencia County after people reported falling into dumpsters there. A man just fell over the ledge and into a dumpster at the Conejo Convenience Center this weekend. He was fine, but once news broke out, it caught the county's attention.
I mean, you know, it's a cost to the county, a cost to the residents that the county just needs to be aware of, and we needed to get it addressed.
The guardrail cost $3,000 to install. A man accused of exposing and touching himself in front of kids in parks is out of jail this morning. A warning, some of the pictures that we're about to show you, you may consider to be graphic. We first started looking into this when a parent sent us a picture of Jason Galloway with his hand in his pants at this park. Police say they're working on charging him for that, but in most of Galloway's prior cases, he was found mentally incompetent to stand trial. Unless he does something more serious, it seems the state can't put him away for long. A man is in jail this morning accused of making a bomb threat at a Las Cruces convenience store. Police say Kevin Green, who is believed to be homeless, went into Murphy's convenience store and told an employee he had a bomb. She called 911. The bomb squad was called and they discovered a clear vial, they say, containing some type of liquid that wasn't explosive. According to the Las Cruces Sun News, this is the second time this has happened in 6 weeks. In August, a similar threat was made at a Staples store by a man who was also believed to be homeless. A chase turned into a water rescue in Australia as a man tried to escape from police. Watch as this happens. Officers have been chasing the suspect for 2 hours before stopping at the beach and then watching him drive right into the surf. 2 officers were able to swim out and pull the suspect from the water. Police believe the car he was driving was stolen. A Georgia man is recovering this morning after he jumped from a 3rd-story building while handcuffed. Authorities in Atlanta say the man was at pretrial services facing a drug charge and was set to go through pretrial intervention. Deputies say they later spotted the man with a weapon and put him in handcuffs. They say at some point the man got away from the deputies and jumped out the window. His condition was listed as critical at last check. The incident's now under investigation by 2 law enforcement agencies. Well, it appears many U.S. households will have lower heating bills this year. The U.S. Energy Department predicts a 25% drop for homes using heating oil and an 18% drop for those using propane compared to last winter. The reason? Lower energy prices and warmer weather across most of the country. Happening now as the day begins in Balloon Fiesta Park, many vendors are setting up too, putting their goods, what they're selling, out on display. Crystal Gutierrez is out and about in the park with a look at how the year's turning out for those vendors. Hey, Crystal.
Oh, they say it's turning out pretty well so far. That's good news here, but I have even better news for Fiesta goers this morning. Take a look behind me. We have dozens of balloons already either cold inflated or they're already up this morning because it's part of the Krispy Kreme Morning Glow. Here it goes. And there's a beautiful sight that Fiesta goers are seeing this morning. Take a look at that. I love that. And some of these balloons here are part of Dawn Patrol, but Adam, as you mentioned, vendors here are also taking advantage of this beautiful morning. The field, that's not the only place you're going to see balloons. Walk with me this way. This is Leo. Leo, you have dozens of balloons over here. Wow. So you're one of the traveling vendors, so you get in with all the action, right?
Oh yeah, you bet. I'm always out here in the middle of it all.
So tell me, how has it been going so far, Balloon Fiesta?
So far it's been going very well, except for Sunday night when we had the rain. Other than that, it's been a phenomenal event so far. And this weekend's supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to be absolutely awesome.
And this Wednesday is really the turning point because Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, things really ramp up for you.
From tomorrow morning on, things will just keep getting busier and busier. Friday night will be insane. So will Saturday night, but Friday always kicks it.
So tell me, I've noticed a lot of these carts around, but yours is by far the fullest.
Yeah, well, I got the biggest one and I build it up because, the flash is cash. The better people can see me, the better they're going to come over and buy.
Absolutely. And
I sell fun.
That's true.
Yep.
And that's what people want here,
exactly.
right?
We always have a great time out here.
So I have to ask you real fast, is it better business, I don't know, being here as a traveling vendor or as a booth?
It really depends. I mean, the booths that people have to go to you out here in the middle of it all, I'm just right here. So
that's true.
They just come right up to me and I have a great time out here.
Well, get ready, Leo, because it's about to ramp up.
Yes, it certainly
We're going to be elbow to elbow in the next few days.
You got that right.
So
we
sure will. Thank you so much for talking to us. So we have a lot going on this morning here. Don't forget that we're still on a yellow flag. We're waiting for the green. We'll let you know when it does happen. We'll send it back to you.
Glad you're staying on top of that. Thanks, Crystal. And don't forget, as she mentioned, Balloon Fiesta events happening soon. It's all listed on our website. You can also download the KRQE News app. Fixing New Mexico